Hello and welcome to NorCal Malifaux. My name is Michael, and if you haven't figured it out, I'm sitting here in Northern California. Now, I've given this video bat rep a try a couple times. I've had some technical issues, but I think I've got the hamsters in my old Commodore 64 changed out, fed, ready to go. Let's see if we can get this thing uploaded to YouTube. Figured I'd start with a little introduction. I've been playing M2E I played M2E since the end of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Played it until last year, about mid-year last year. I wandered off, started playing some other games, but with the new edition, about 2 months ago, I picked it back up. Decided to do some battle reports to share the learning experiences. I get into a couple of these crews, figure this thing out, figure the new edition out, and just help me think about my games afterwards. If you're expecting high-end play, go to one of the other channels. You might see that there. Now, myself, I play almost entirely Arcanists. That's the faction I've played in everything except for the 1 year I went to the ITC where I played Neverborn. That's a team event. I took them up to round out the roster. I do have some old guild models, not enough to really put together a true crew. We've got a number of masters, just not complete keyword sets or anything. But with the Christmas coming up, I think I've been a good boy. I'm going to ask for some of these models, and hopefully I get them. And with the new year, you'll start seeing some guild in these battle reports. I do have a couple club mates. The first is Josh, who will be a regular opponent. He generally plays Rezzers and 10T. And the other is Colonel. He will have all the pretty looking models when you see them. He plays Neverborn and Bayou. For today's battle report, we did Arcanist versus Neverborn were declared. So we used the handy dandy Malifaux builder here and crew builder. And if you're not using this app, stop watching this, go download it, and then come back. But we came up with standard, reckoning, hold up their forces, detonate charges, dig their graves, take prisoner, harness the ley line. Now, I've been playing a lot of Tony Ironsides. She was my favorite master at the end of M2E. And then also Karis. I put together a Karis crew just almost entirely with mystery box elements and been having a good time. So they're two very different play styles. Been enjoying them a lot, but before I even approached the table, I'd already decided on the master I was going to take no matter what the strats and schemes. I'm trying to expand into some of the other masters of the Arcanist faction. And so I went to an old M2E standard in Mr. Sandeep. So my opponent declared Pandora. I think we had both listened to the excellent Third Floor Wars podcast with Pandora. So he decided to give it a try. My Colonel had been playing Dreamer a lot lately, putting the hurt on both Josh and I with Dreamer, doing a real good job. But got a little excited after listening to the podcast, and just like all these third floor podcasts, every time I listen to one, I think whatever master they're talking about is the greatest master to exist, is total OP. I don't know how I'll ever defeat, and everybody will be playing that master soon. But this is an opportunity to immediately get that master on the table, see what she can do. My list: Soulstone Pool of 3. Sandeep, Bonasuva, I will slip sometimes and call him Bossa Nova. I'm not going to apologize for that. Immediately, first take, of course, is the Arcanist Crutch in the Soulstone Minor with magical training. I'm not apologizing for that either. It's only one. Be happy with that. That's what I say. Oxfordian Mage, Fire Gammon. I also took a Metal and Ice Gammon, so one of each of the Gammons. That was more just to kind of see what the heck they do. I'm familiar with the Fire Gammon, obviously. Pandora, and then the Metal Golem with Diesel Engine for some survivability and mobility. No, actually not mobility. He doesn't get the push. Not sure that was a very good take. I will kind of go over that in my post wrap, I think. I've been playing a lot with the Fire Golem. Like him a lot. His mobility, his tankiness, he eventually goes down, but it takes a lot of effort. But with facing Pandora, with both Pandora and I was expecting Iggy, you know, the flaming would just get pulled off immediately, and didn't think he'd be more of a liability than a good take, especially with Ruckman. So my opponent took Pandora, 5 Soulstones, Poltergeist, Candy, Iggy, there he is, Baby Cade, Doppelganger, Sorrow, and then a mature Nephilim, which I thought was a pretty choice. I wish I'd asked him why that over the Hooded, which a couple weeks before had just decimated me. Um, Maybe he felt sorry for me. I don't know. We'll see. So back to the schemes. I would take hold up their forces. I would take hold up their forces as well as harness the ley line. Colonel would take hold up their forces and dig their grave. I'm sorry. Yes, dig their graves. So this is a table. I will say this was done before the release of GG0, so I will be putting more terrain on the table and feature video battle reports. I do have a wide assortment of terrain. I used to run a 100-person plus Warhammer Fantasy tournament, so some of it is not really great for Malifaux, but I've got all the trees and flats and buildings that I can want. You can see this is a bit worn. There's probably been some beer and a lot of dice thrown at these buildings. Just kind of going through it pretty quickly here. That brown patch is severe only, doesn't block or conceal or dense. The 2 flats with the yellow static grass, those are severe, dense, and concealing. The tree stands on those are decorative only and can be moved. All the other tree stands, including the 2 on the hill, those are set. Scattered terrain, we do play the round base. Those are all provide cover. Pretty self-explanatory. The hill is climbable 2 inches, height 2, I should say. The only interesting piece is the well. That is height 2, but up to height 1, it's blocking. You can see through the above height 1, but if you draw a line of sight through, we count that as concealing. So this is my deployment. Pretty straightforward. I was the attacker. I think I just did the Soulstone Miner in one group and everything else in the other. I tend to do this, especially with what I think is a bubble crew, which this is a bit. Just especially the first couple times I deploy, just so I'm not messing myself up. And my idea here was, to try to get into the middle. I figured that's where he's going to push, but also have the option to run up the kind of that open lane off to the right if need be. Colonel had his mature Nephilim and Doppel sitting on my left flank. I was a bit worried there. It's a lot of min 3 and then kind of spread out. I would have liked to have been on his side, a little bit more open deployment zone. I felt like I was getting squeezed. It's one of those while I was the attacker and could have chosen that one. I was standing where I was standing, and that's what determined what side of the table I was going to be on. So this is about a third of the way through the first turn. This is after Sandeep has gone. I will say that I almost consistently, almost every turn, I think, other than maybe the 4th and 5th turn, drew the 13 of masks into my hand, into my control hand, pretty quickly, if not right off the bat. Allows me all the summoning options that I could ever desire, and I would take advantage of those. I just used the Abase Elemental, I forgot what that's called for Sandeep, to get some concentrate down, to take advantage of Demise ability from Bonasuva, to get some scrap down, do some card draw off of Kandara's mantra. Pretty powerful stuff. And then I walked the Metal Gammon up in preparation for him getting far forward to draw the second scrap marker. So this is about halfway through the turn. You can see that indeed I got my Metal Gammon forward. rail walked. I used Bonasuva's command elemental ability to rail walk Golem forward into position. Candy, this is about halfway through Candy's activation. She came in, actually did some damage on the metal gammon rather than the Golem, and then scooted out of the way. Didn't want any part of the metal Golem there. I will say the rest of my crew, I was playing pretty defensively. You know, for the first couple turns, he did a good job dropping shockwave markers. I'll show you a little picture. He consistently got 4 or 5 of my models with the shockwave, just because I was so bunched up getting through that lane. His crew does a good job with it, though. It doesn't care about the damage. You know, there's so much armor, so much easy access to shielded, as well as, you know, I'm taking a lot of concentrate actions, and with the Oxfordian mages healing bubble on those elementals, whatever little incidental damage I was taking, I was healing pretty quickly. The push was much, much more of an issue. This was really bunching me up, keeping me from kind of breaking out there. I had a little pyre marker. That's what that 50mm is there. I'm not sure why I did that. Well, we'll talk about the fire gammon at the end as well, or in this decision. But with that said, I couldn't really break out. I'm a naturally defensive player to begin with, and so I was playing pretty cautious, which kept me out of that Pandora 6-inch bubble for the most part. But I just couldn't really break free from that zone. It took a little bit for me to figure out a couple of tactics, which we'll also see later on. You can see that he's prepping his dig graves there, has a couple scheme markers down. That should have clued me off right away. But I will tell you, I think it was the first time Colonel ever took dig graves. He tends to shy away from that. So that was an interesting take on his part. I was playing the player more than his play or his what I could see with my own 2 eyes. So this is the end of the turn. I was able to get in. I couldn't do a real good off the rail. I was within the 2-inch bubble, minus 2-inch movement bubble of Pandora. So didn't get much of an off-rail push. Just got doppel. That said, I think I stumbled into a pretty good take in the metal golem against the Pandora crew. He's got 4 manipulative models. Baby Kate is hiding behind the well there. You see Candy up by that cart, and then obviously Doppel and Iggy. But with built-in positives, that's a good tech. I wish I could say that was planned. I was just trying to take a metal golem to see what they do, and he's good. He's mobile, fast. I can see getting a lot of work done with him. So he did a pretty good number on Doppel. Doppel is teetering maybe with just 1 or 2 points left. So this is after maybe 4 or 5 activations, certainly after Pandora's activation in turn 2. I was able to go first. I finished Doppel off, got the vent steam trigger off, which, again, begs the reason why I took diesel engine. It wasn't that useful in this take, especially on a non-minion. So, that's something that easily saved. With that said, with me getting 13 of masks and not feeling a lot of pressure yet, I would, and of course, taking the broken soulstone miner, I was mining away. Soulstones were never a resource I was short of in this game. And then I got a good swing onto Iggy, hit him, it's great, and declared another trigger, not realizing that, oops, that's a mistake. And that trigger just gave me shielded, but he's got that ability that if I declare a trigger, reduces the damage by 2, which essentially sucked. I would have rather had the 2 points of damage, so that's a lesson learned on Iggy. You think I would know since I played Karis, but I actually haven't played Iggy in my Karis crew. Will after this game. He did some pretty good work. He would go and kill, or maybe Pandora would kill the metal gammon. to score his Dig Graves, also to score his Reckoning. So we've each got a Reckoning point this first turn, or I should say the second turn in this into the or the second turn. This is still the second turn. This is the very end of it. As you can see, I summoned a second Windgammon. The first Windgammon tore off to the left in preparation to drop some scheme markers on the center line. The Soulstone Miner will pop up way to the right on the center line in preparation to drop in Harness on turn 3. He sent his big boy, the Mature, in, killed off the Fire Gammon. Didn't do very much. Baby Keg would swing around and beat up the Metal Golem, so he's sitting on 4 or 5 wounds, but not feeling particularly good. I would end up, in addition to summoning the second Windgammon that you see there, summon a third Ice Gammon and then combine them into an Ice Golem, who's pretty hefty model there. Did some healing with that Ice Pillar, beat up on the Return Nephilim there, splashing myself with some black blood, which is annoying. The incidental damage is really kind of catching up with Pandora. She's not a good one to target against because of the String Continents, but she was getting splashed a lot by in little dinks and doos. Something you don't want to use a Soulstone for. I was getting some heal in there, but still, it was starting to add up. Getting a little worried with her. With that said, I needed her close to make sure. I didn't want the Mature to go down. And because I knew I could score, hold up their forces, I just jumped the Windgammon up there to engage Pandora, kept Pandora there. He tried as well and shot the Sorrow into the kind of the engage, kind of in the middle of my crews, and I had the activations to deal with it. So I killed him. You could see that the Poltergeist is also gone. I listened to the Third Floor Wars podcast on Pandora. Got a little scared, remembered, oh yeah, kill that Poltergeist if you're able to. And between Oxfordian Mage and Sandeep, able to target through Oxfordian. This is before the Ice Golem popped up and would have blocked the V's. I took the Poltergeist down pretty quickly. So he, again, end of turn 2, we each score Reckoning. I score my hold up their forces. He scores his Dig Graves, so we're sitting at 2-2. So this is the end of turn 3. This is where I started not taking pictures as things got pretty tense and needed to focus. As you can see, he finishes off Pandora. I finish off Mature. I get a pretty good charge on to Candy. I actually red jokered the damage on the one shot I got. And so she was sitting in pretty rough shape at this point. I think only 1 wound left. This isn't quite, yeah, this is the end. I jumped the, he finishes off the Metal Golem as well. So he took a big chunk of my forces out with the Metal Golem and Kandara going down. I ended up tossing the Oxfordian Mage forward, and this is something that next time I play Sandeep, that Bonasuba, I think he's going to just be a tossing machine. Just sit back and toss models forward. Left, charge Iggy, trying to get him down. I think at this point he's sitting on 1 health. When the Oxfordian could go, I had gone with the other Windgammon, laid down a couple of scheme markers, but Mr. Iggy picked them off, destroyed one. I've got a ski marker on the center line on the other side from the Soulstone Miner. So I've got a choice at this point with the Oxfordian when he went. He's the very last activation of the entire turn for both of us. Both our hands are completely empty. I can either walk forward, drop a ski marker, get harness, or I could focus and just try to hit Iggy. If I hit, I kill, I score Reckoning. If this was a tournament game, on turn 3, I absolutely just take the points, the sure points in harness. Since I knew we were going to finish the game, I went for it. Was unable to kill Iggy. I'm also regretting this is where declaring that trigger with the metal golem last turn. Iggy would be dead at this point, and I would have been able to score the reckoning. Pisses me off. Should know these rules. This is a model I should be playing. All right, so let's go back. Nope, won't let me go back. So where does that leave us at the end of turn 3? It left us with me still at 2. He scored another reckoning, so he's 3-2 at the end of turn 3. So this is the end of turn 4. You can see some more bottles died. He finally was able to start targeting Bonatsuva. He goes down pretty easily. So another reason why I think I'm going to be keeping him back between the free action obey and on elementals and the ability to toss models around. He's just not a frontline guy. He seems like he should be. He's big, he's beefy. I forgot what his what damage track is, but he's just fragile and more useful in other ways. I was able to score harness this turn, with Iggy down. In fact, I even have an extra marker on there that I didn't have to take off. I killed Candy pretty easily, and which scored me the reckoning. So at the end of turn 4, I score reckoning as well as harness. He doesn't score anything. So I'm up 4-3. At this point, he concedes the game, says that he will kill Baby Cade himself to deny me a hold up their forces. I could have gone and seen if I could have taken Pandora down. He was pretty full health, maybe 1 or 2 points off of her. And, he had a stone left, but not much else. And I've got a lot of models. So, maybe I could have, maybe I couldn't have. He clearly states he can't stop harness, my second harness. So I'm perfectly happy taking a 5-3 win and calling it at this point. It's getting a little late, too. So, victory for the Arcanist, 5-3 over Pandora. So thoughts on the game. Okay, so first of all, I really like the Metal Golem. Going to give him some try, especially as as I pull May out eventually. And I will play a couple more games with Sandeep. He is just solid, just fast. If you have the ability to get those scrap markers down and can hit a ton of bricks. Very tough to take down with the ability to get shielded, though against Pandora, shielded once you get close to Pandy, it's not that great. And armor 2. The diesel engine, waste of points on him. I don't think I'll do that again. I'll save that for. And though I've never ever taken him yet, but the swarm, everybody seems to take him on. The idea of shoving the metal golem forward into his backfield to wreak havoc worked, but also once he declared dig graves, I figured I was going to give up the second. Star would just sit back there, and as I'm creating scrap and corpse markers, and eventually as he goes down, it's in his backfield he can drop enough markers pretty easily to score the second one, but he focused a little bit more on the hold up. The Pandora. I think Pandora, is an interesting choice. I do think Pandora takes practice in Mike's defense and Colonel's defense. This is the first time he played Pandora, and I know he'll get better really fast as he plays her. But I think he still, likes Dreamer and obviously Zoraida much better for the Neverborn at this point. I think he's playing around with some Nikema in the last couple weeks. Let's see, what else can I say? Really like Sandeep Crew. Really like him. I think he's got a lot of play, a lot of flexibility. I think he can, that would be the master so far that I would do a single master event with, just because I can take a bunch of different choices and play them a bunch of different ways. So that's my thoughts. This is the initial NorCal Malibra report. This better upload to the internet and have sound for a change. we'll see what happens. Until next time, flip those cards high.